Hi everybody and welcome to Lab 13 Implementing Backups. Let's get started and prepare for our backup. So we're going to log into PC10. Let's press this quick link to get into our Control-Alt-Delete screen. We're going to log in as Jamie and jump in there. Step 1, we are already done. So we're going to create a full drive volume on disk 1, and we're going to call it backup 1. And let's take a look first to see what we see here in the computer. I just clicked on here and we can only see one disk. If we went into something called Disk Manager, which is the create and format hard drive disk and partitions, we can see that there is another disk here, and we're going to enable it. Can you enable it from Disk Manager? Yes, but we want you to learn the commands in disk part in order to do so. So let's close this, and we are going to expand the hint for guidance. So let's go ahead and click on our search and type CMD on the command prompt, and we can go ahead and execute. Click on it and go right into it. We do not need to right click on it. Let's type the command diskpart. Diskpart is a command line utility in Windows operating systems that allow you to manage computers' hard drives, disk partitions, volumes, virtual disk. It gives us the ability to create, delete, format partitions, manage partitions and volumes. It gives us the ability to manage virtual hard disk, specifically VHDs, and set different types of attributes to them. And which we're going to do this in this lab. So let's hit enter after our brief introduction to diskpart. And if you're prompted with a UAC control, you're going to hit yes. And you have already done steps 2A, B, and C. We are on step D. Now, again, remember, there is another disk here that we saw in Disk Manager. So if you wanted to look at it in diskpart to see what it is, we can go ahead and list disk. This is going to show us the disks that are available. And as you can see, disk 1 is there, but it's in an offline status. So let's put it in an online status. So we're going to select disk 1 first. And now every command we run in diskpart is going to be run on disk 1 unless we otherwise select it. So we are going to put disk 1 online, and all we have to do is type online disk. This will turn disk 1 online. Now we want to clear the read-only attribute to this disk. So we are going to type the attribute command, and that's going to change the read-only so it allows us to write. And we've cleared that attribute. We are now on step 2G, where we're going to create the partition, and we're going to create a primary partition using the create primary partition primary command. We're going to hit enter, and now it has succeeded. Again, putting disk 1 online, clearing the attribute, clearing the partition, creating the partition, all that has been, what we're doing is on disk 1. Now we want to format the drive so that we can put files on there, and we're going to use NTFS. And we're also going to give this drive a label, and we're going to call it backup 01. So we're going to use the format command, and the format command has a switch that we need to add to it, which is FS, so that when we format it, it will tell us that what file system we want it to use. In the Linux lab prior to this, you were creating a partition and you were formatting it in FAT32. This is the same thing, except we're using NTFS, and it's a different command for Windows. The label command tells us that we're going to give it a label, and we're going to call it backup 01. We put it in quotes, And the quick command tells us that we're going to use a quick format so that it's done fast. And it's done. So now we want to assign a drive letter to disk 1. And we're going to use the type text, and we're going to assign drive letter F to it. And now it's command. Now we can exit this part. So if you want to go back to File Explorer, you can go there, and you can see when you click on this PC that we have a disk. Disk 01 is now showing up. It's labeled as backup 01, and it's been given a drive letter of F. You are now done with step 2. We have step 3, where we need to make 3 copies of a file, and they're document 01.txt, document 02.txt, and document 3.txt. So let's expand the hints for guidance so that we could do this. We have a copy command that we could use to run. So we're going to click this type text. Make sure that you are in your command prompt, and it says one file copy. And there's the second one. And be careful, I fat fingered it, so I clicked it multiple times. So if you did that, just erase this, erase the entire command, and go ahead and click. This is the last one, so it's document 03. And hit enter. Now you have the files are copied. You can click score to validate this task was done. And now it's correct. Remember, in order to run these quick commands, you need to expand the hint for guidance, and you could just quickly click these type texts to get them in. I recommend doing them one at a time since this is a scored exercise. So now we're going to create a copy of one file, and we are going to into a public folder and assign it a file name of document 04. So let's do that. And if we expand the hint, we can get that quick command to do it. And hit enter. One file copy. Again, this is a scored task, so we're going to click score. And we should get a completion on this. Make sure it's easy to get lost and not check these off. So go back and make sure that you're checking these off as you go so that you get credit on the taskbar. And now we have done step 4, which is create document 04. We selected score. That's good. We can close the command prompt window now, and we can go on to our next section. Okay, so now we are on step 2 of lab 13, or section 2 of lab 13, implementing backups. So I'm still logged in as Jamie, so I'm going to check off step 1, and we're going to use Windows Server Backup to do a one-time backup of the user's folder. So let's go ahead and expand our hint for guidance. So if you click on your search icon and click the T to do backup, it is going to bring up Windows Server Backup. And now it's going to kick off. We'll wait for it to kick off, and then here it is. And we're going to select local backup on the left-hand pane. And we're going to wait for the interface to update. Should take about 10 seconds. And now the interface is showing. We can see a couple things here. So we are on step 2D. And so we're going to select backup once from the action pane here on the right hand side. So we're going to click backup once, and we're going to have a backup window, a backup wizard. So now we want to make sure that different option is selected, and then we're going to click next. On the backup configuration page, we're going to select custom, and we're going to select next. On the selected items for backup page, we're going to click add items here. On the selected items window, we are going to expand the plus sign next to local disk C. And then we're going to look for users and put a check mark here. We're going to select OK. And then we're going to click next. We are on 2K. I'm sorry, 2I. So now we're on specify the destination type on the local drives. We're going to click next because we're going to do it to a local drive. And we're going to change our backup destination by clicking the drop down, and we're going to select backup 01 F drive, and we're going to click next. On the confirmation page, we're going to select backup. While the backup is going, make sure that you're checking the steps off. And we're about to, once this completes, we will go to step 3. You'll start to see the backup run, and it'll go through. Just be patient at this step. So now the status has changed to backup complete. We can now check off step 3 and select score. And the backup exists, and we can move on to step 4. We are going to minimize Windows Server backup, but we're going to leave it open. So you're just going to click the minimize, and we can say that we've confirmed, and we need to make sure that we check off step 4, and then you can go ahead and check your work before going to the next step. Now we're in part 3 of Lab 13 of implementing backups, where we're going to delete a file and restore it from the backup. So we've already logged in, or if you have not, you can go ahead and complete step 1. But now we're going to delete a document in step 2. So we can expand this hint for guidance. It'll make it quicker and help aid in the scoring. So let's go ahead. I just clicked, you can click File Explorer right here, or you can use the search icon and then use the type text to type it in an active window. However you want to go into File Explorer, you can. Once File Explorer comes up, we're going to double click on Documents. We are in step 2B, as in boy. So we're going to go to Documents, and we're going to right click on Document 1, and we're going to delete it. We're going to minimize File Explorer, and then we're going to go to the right recycle bin, and we're going to right click on it and empty recycle bin to empty it out. And we're going to select yes. If a delete file confirmation pop-up happens, you can select yes to it. That is step 2G. And then you can click score to check if you've done this step correctly. And it's been done. So now we're going to restore document 01 from the backup, and we're going to expand the hint for guidance so that we can make sure the accurate scoring is done. So we're going to return to our Windows Server backup, which if you minimized it, should be right here. And on the right pane under Actions, we're going to select Recover. Now we're going to have the recovery wizard come up. And we're going to leave this server PC10 selected and click Next. Then we're going to select a backup date on this page, which it should automatically be highlighted as this one. And you can see the recoverable item link here. So we are going to select Next. On the Select Recovery Type, 3E, we're going to select, make sure files and folders are selected and click Next. 3F, we're going to click the plus sign near PC10 here. And we are going to then expand local disk C. And then we are going to expand the users folder and then Jamie. We're going to select Documents under the Jamie folder. And then we have everything that was backed up here on this page. We're going to click on Document 01.txt, and this is in the Items to Recover. We are on step 3H, and then we're going to click Next. We're going to leave the recovery destination set to original location and click Next. We are now on 3I. We're now on the confirmation page where we just need to confirm the recovery, and this is the item that we are going to recover. And then we're going to click Recover. We're going to wait before going on to step 4, and we are going to make sure that the recovery process is complete, and we've selected Close on 3K. And we'll still wait here until it has finished the recovery process. Now that the files have been recovered, we see the status is complete. We can click Close. And then we need to confirm that document 01 is restored. We can expand this. We are on step 4, but let's go back to step 3 and check this off. And then what we want to do is return to File Manager. And I just minimized it. I am logged in as Jamie, so I will see that this file was recovered. Okay? We can double click on 01 to confirm that it is working. And we can see all this information in here. We can close this and select Score. Once you've gotten your score, you can go ahead and check off step 4. And step 5, we're closing all windows, and we can confirm that we've deleted the file and we've restored the file. We are in the last part of Lab 13 before we get to our comprehensive questions. So let's make sure that we're still logged into PC10. On step 1, I'm logged in as Jamie. I can see here, and we can go ahead and continue with this lab enabling volume shadow copy service. So we're going to go ahead and expand the hints for guidance in step 2 so that we follow along exactly and that we can score this correctly, get it scored correctly. So what we're going to do first is right click on the start menu. And we're going to go to Disk Management right here. And then we're going to right click on the C drive and we're going to go to Properties. On the Properties window, we're going to select Shadow Copies. We're now going to, you see the status that says that it's disabled. You can click Enable. And then we want to select yes to E in order to enable shadow copy service. Now we should see the next run date appear, and we do 9/24/2024. And we can click OK to close this lab, this part of the lab, and we can go ahead and close disk management. Let's go ahead and click the score button to validate that we've done all the tasks. And once you've enabled this, you'll get a green check mark and you'll see task complete. If you missed something, please go back and correct that mistake and and hit the score button again. So now we can go back and check off step 2. We've completed that task, and now we're going to go to step 3, where we're going to force the volume shadow copy service VSS to make a backup of drive C. And we're going to expand this hint for guidance. And then in here, we're going to click on our search icon, and we're going to click CMD. And right now we're going to right click run as administrator. You can click yes for if you get prompted for user account control. And then we're going to run this command. Now, WMIC stands for Windows Management Instrumentation Command Line. What we're doing now is then using this to call shadow copy to run. And shadow copy is also known as VSS. We're going to tell it to create a shadow copy of volume C with this command. And now the volume shadow copy service is creating that backup now. So we do see the several lines of communication. We did not get a method execution state, so we are going to close the command prompt and move on. We are now done with step 3. We are on step 4. Alter the document 04 file from the C user's public folder and add the first line that this has changed. So we're going to take this and we're going to expand the hints for guidance. So we're going to go to File Explorer. We're going to select this PC. We're on 4C. We're going to select the C drive. We're going to double click it. And then we're going to double click on the user's folder and we're going to go to public. And then double click on public. Then we're going to double click on document 04. And what we're going to do not move the cursor from its current position. You got to leave it for this step. You got to leave it where it is, and then you're going to click this type text to type the word change. Now what has happened is that the volume shadow copy service is going, when it runs again, it's going to see that this file was modified. So it was changed, and it's going to do a backup of it. So do not move the cursor. All you should do is leave it here. And then once you have this done, you can go ahead and then you want to press enter. Now this is where you need to leave it. When you close it, you save, and we can close Notepad. Now let's select score to make sure that we've scored it accurately. And as you can see, by following these directions, we were able to get this file modified. Again, be very careful how you do step 4, because if you don't follow these hints for guidance correctly, you will get an incorrect score on here. Okay, so now we're going to be going to step 5, but make sure we check off step 4. And let's go on to step 5 and expand the hint for guidance. So we're going to right click on document 04, and we are going to go and select restore previous version. Now you're going to have the documents property wizard come up, and it's going to give you a listing under previous versions. This was done by the volume shadow copy service. So now we want to select restore on the bottom here. And then we want to click restore again and then OK. Now you can click OK on this screen and then select OK to close document 04 properties window. So now we are completed with step G, and now we want to confirm that in step 6 that it reverted back to the original file, the unchanged file. So let's check off step 5, go to step 6, and then what we want to do is expand the hint for guidance, double click on 04. And now after we double clicked on it, document 04 came up with the way how it originally looked. The word changed is no longer on that first line. So now we can close Notepad and select score and click on the scoring. And as you can see, we got a task complete. We can go ahead and check step 6 off, make sure that you have all your other steps before going on to the comprehensive questions. And we can leave File Explorer open, and then we can check off the rest of this to make sure that we are at this point.